Right, so for this one, unfortunately, I kind of started a little bit already. So again, for these kind of questions, you have 5 rules, and the geometry rules that you have we'll go through before. You have angles on a straight line add up to 180. That's the first and very important rule that you'll keep seeing popping up. When two straight lines intersect and form that kind of X shape, the opposite angles that face each other, vertically opposite angles, will be equal. And then we have the ones with the parallel lines, corresponding, alternates, and interior. Those are the different angles that we have. So for the first one, it have nothing to do with the bottom. So the parallel lines didn't come into play because the parallel lines really link the top to the bottom. So for the first one, if you notice, we have two straight lines intersecting, meaning this and this facing each other. They are the opposite angles. So here going to be 110. But even though that's the fastest and quickest ways to do it, and my answer going to be 110, and you realize I put in the reason because they will want to know how I came up with that answer. And each rule would tell you how you come up with the answer. And you could use more than one rule depending on what you notice. And this is if you're going in order. But if you realize if I want to use the straight line, here would be a half a circle. And angles on a straight line up to 180. So if you put up 110, then this piece have to put up the rest. So 180 take away 110, he's 70. And then I could use a straight line here again, and you realize it does make sense. But instead of going that roundabout way, I could just say opposite angles and get my answer. Same thing out. I want to know how B and A going to be linked because I want B next. Again, I don't have to do it in order. We're just doing it in order to show you how the rules would go. Later on, you could just, whichever rule pop out to you first, you could use that, but state the reason that was used to get that angle. So again, both of these on the inside of the parallel lines, if you notice, and they're blocked off by this line. So since they're on the inside of the parallel lines and both of them on the same side, these are interior angles. And what you know about interior angles, well, from this rule here, and you need to know these rules yourself, interior angle is going to add up to 180. So if you put up 180, if you put up 110 and I'm supposed to get 180, how much are you supposed to put up? 180 take away 110. So B actually going to be 70. And the way I got 70 was interior angles. Again, you could just write interior, that's right, on the word angles. C now, how am I going to get C? So we're already on the bottom piece. I have more than one choice, as I said. So if I already have B, one of my choices could be A, both of them forming a half a circle because they're on a straight line and that line cutting it. You realize I just highlight the piece that I was looking at. This piece didn't come into play because all I'm looking at is this straight line being cut here. So that means here going to be 110. Now I have different ways I could get that 110, you'll notice. So one of the ways, if I had B, I could have used angles on a straight line, right? So I could have used both of them as a straight angle. Or I could have used corresponding, because if you notice in this diagram, the piece on the top and the same corresponding piece on the bottom should be the same. So if I didn't notice that this was angles on a straight line, or I wanted to get C immediately, the rule that I could have used was corresponding angles as well. Yeah, corresponding angles. Or I could have even used alternate angles, because in this case we have a back to front Z. We have that situation here with this angle going to be this angle. So because here's 110, you realize all of them giving me the same answer, which they should. So I could have used alternate angles as well. Now the last one, D, again, same idea. I could use whichever rule I want. I could use straight angle here, because both of them going to be on a straight line, that particular straight line there, meaning here going to be 70. Or two straight lines intersect, these two lines going to be facing each other. So however I do it, whether it's with the straight angle or opposite angles, those are the rules I could have used to get that answer. You only need to give one reason though, and it's whichever reason jump out to you. Let's look at our next example. So in this example here, you realize it have no top to my diagram. So we're looking more at shapes here, because a shape will always just have a line just sticking out, like in this case here, just sticking out doing nothing. So most of them will be inside a shape. So in this one, again, I didn't put my parallel lines, and if they don't say the lines parallel or indicate they're parallel, then these rules don't work. So it's either I see those arrows to let me know it's parallel, or in the body of the question itself, they indicate that those lines are parallel. So I want the size of angle X. So again, you could decide how you want to do it. I have the parallel lines, these two on the inside, so I could do that. Or if I had noticed, I could say, hey, because one of the first things I look for is to see with the parallel lines, because this is the most popular rule with the parallel lines. You look to see if they have some kind of Z shape. And I've seen a back to front Z with the parallel lines, meaning if this is 55, here going to be 55, and the way I got X first was because it was alternate angles. Now I didn't need to do X first, I could have do Y first, and if I had noticed for Y that they're on the inside now of the parallel lines and they blocked off, then two of them have to add up to 180, meaning they are interior angles. So Y will be 180 take away 55, because I could show working as well. I don't have to do everything in my head, and they prefer that you show some working. Here going to be 125 when I take away those things and I get my answer. Or if I had got X first, I could have used straight line. So however you wanted to use it, you just need to give one reason, whether it's interior or straight line, whatever you use. And now to get Z, again, it have more than one way to get Z. Some of them will require calculations, some don't require calculations. So if you need some without calculations, then that'll save your time. So here, if I had noticed that these are in the same position on top and bottom, I could have figured out there was 55 corresponding angles. Or if I didn't realize both of them on the same position on top and bottom, I could have used opposite angles, because both of these are going to be opposite each other, so I could use opposite as well. You realize opposite have no working as well. Or I could have used straight line with Y, in which case it'll be 180 take away 125, and I'll get that. Now again, you only need to use one. I just put in the different ways you could have see it. So whichever way jump out as you, that's the way you should use. Alright, so this is just some examples with the basic rules, and they would pop back up again, as you would notice. We're moving on to some more rules after.